Okay, so about a week ago, me and my friend Josh created an England tier list, which we used to, I guess, decide who we thought should be going to the Euros and who should be staying left at home. But we never really properly clarified our England 11 or the 11 that we think should be starting for England. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm just going to be going through my England 11 and let's see if you agree. So first off in goal, I'm going with Nick Pope over Jordan Pickford. I just think he's the better option as opposed to Pickford. He's obviously a very good keeper. He's been very good for a number of years now. You could argue Pickford's better at distributing the ball, but I just think, Nick Pope is just a much better goalkeeper. And he's been an integral part to Burnley staying in the Premier League for a number of years now. So moving into the right back then, we're going with Trent Alexander-Arnold. I understand there's some recent controversy over this position, and I do take into consideration that he hasn't had the best of seasons by his own standards, but this is a kid that has won everything you can win at a club level in terms of major trophies, and he's been an integral part of that. He's put in the last 36 months consistent world-class performances, and I don't think that should be discredited due to a mediocre 6 months. I think it just shows how reactionary we can be as football fans, and for that reason he stays in. He's arguably probably the best right back in the world. So centre back options then, they are pretty easy. It's Maguire and Stones. Stones for me probably the best centre back in the Premier League this season. He's really proven the doubters wrong. Not really much more than needs to be said about him. Maguire on the other hand, Maguire's a little tricky one, and because he's a player that gets a lot of criticism, and sometimes rightly so, but I think a lot of it isn't necessarily his fault. And what I mean by that is Maguire's a player that he was signed for £80 million and he's gone and became the captain of Manchester United. Now, Harry Maguire is not that level of player. He's not an £80 million player. He's not captain of Manchester United level player, and I guess there's some debate over, is he Man United quality? I don't know, but what Harry Maguire is a very competent centre back. He does the job just fine. He's, I think at this present point in time, the best option we have behind John Stones, and I think it's very hard to make a case for any other centre back at this point in time. And look, again, this is no disrespect to Harry Maguire. I do think he's a fine centre back, but that's all he is. His teammate though, Luke Shaw in at left back, for me this is another no-brainer. He's again probably the best left back in the league this season. I think it's fair to say it's probably his best season in a United shirt, maybe his best season ever as well actually. He's been quality both back and forwards, bombing up and down the wing, on and off the ball. He was an integral part to ending the Manchester City winning run in the derby. He obviously got man of the match and came away with a goal as well, where he ran a stupid, I can't remember the distance he ran, but it was a stupid amount of distance. So yeah, therefore Luke Shaw is the left back for me. Now with the midfield, this is where I'm going to talk a little bit about the formations. I think I'm going to go for a 4-3-3, but off the ball it's going to come into more of a 4-2-3-1. So my three midfielders are going to be Rice, Henderson and Mount. Rice occupying that sort of number 6 role, the holding role, with Henderson and Mount in the 8s just ahead of him. But I think when England are off the ball, and maybe in games where England are on the back foot, Henderson might drop in as like a double pivot just to protect Stones and Maguire, and then give Mount that sort of space in the middle to just occupy on his own. So why I've picked Rice then? Now Rice is a player that I've doubted before. I think before this season especially, about how good he potentially could be. He's definitely proven me wrong this season with the influence he's had at West Ham. He's got all the attributes that you kind of look for in that holding role, in the sense that he's strong, he's tall, he's physical, doesn't shy away from the ball, but then also he can actually play football, and what I mean by that is his passing range is good. He can look up, he can read the game, he's quick, his movement off the ball is good. He's just an all-round really good fit for that midfield. And then looking at Mount and Henderson, when you've got Mount in that centre mid role, he's almost like the perfect partner for Jordan Henderson. They both work really hard, they run, they tackle, they're aggressive, they're tenacious. They're great ball winners, and then on the flip side, they're both creative, they both distribute the ball well, they both protect the ball well. And look, with the way that England naturally set up, there are going to be a few games where we're on the back foot, especially against teams of similar quality or certainly more quality. And in those games, it's going to be about the heart and the spirit and the desire to just not give up in the midfield that I think those three midfielders give us perfectly. And I simply can't name a better England midfield three to do that job. Going into the left wing then, I've chosen Jack Grealish. I think Jack Grealish he's undroppable at this point in time. If you just going off the Villa's last results, I think they've won 1 in their last 6 without Grealish scoring twice, I think. For the past 2 seasons now, he's proved he's one of the best in the league at doing what he does. You know, whether that's getting other players involved in play, which I think coming into it a bit later, he'll link up with Kane really well. In the fact that Kane likes to now drop a couple yards deeper than what he usually would do. Or if it's in Grealish picking up the ball, taking a player on, taking the ball out wide for a cross, or bringing it in onto his left foot for a shot, which we've seen him do so many times for Villa now. And this guy is doing these things consistently to the highest level. Undroppable in my opinion. Harry Kane then up front, he speaks for himself, he's the captain, he's been unplayable at times this season. As I've said before, I think he'll link up with the likes of Jack Grealish really well. There's not too much more to be said on Harry Kane. Like I said, he just picks himself. Now on the right hand side, and this is probably the most difficult one for me. On the right hand side for me, it's between Rashford and Foden. For me, Sancho hasn't quite done enough to warrant a start in the team, and he also doesn't have the credit in the bank that the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold has to have an off few months and still be the #1 contender for his position. Now Foden is probably the more naturally right-sided player, in the sense that, you know, he plays on the right-hand side of his club. He likes to come inside onto his left foot. We've seen him do that many times this season, and I'm sure by the next major tournament, Foden's probably going to have that position nailed down. It's probably going to be his position. He's going to make it his own. But I think, and it might be a mistake, I think I'm going to go Rashford here. Just because I don't know if I can create this England squad without having Rashford in it. Although you definitely get more out of Grealish on that left-hand side than you do Rashford. And see, I think the thing is, actually, with Foden, you're guaranteed an almost 8 out of 10 performance every game you get from him. I mean, maybe a 7. But it's, you know, you're getting about an 8 out of 10. I think Rashford, you never really know what you're going to get with him. I think it's very easy for Rashford to come and give you a 10 out of 10 world-class performance. He does it a lot. But at the same time, it's not unlike Rashford to come and drop a 5 out of 10. And I just think for that reason, based on consistency, maybe I would rather see Foden. Yeah, I think I'm going to put Foden there. And that is going to be my starting team for England in the Euros. If you do agree with the team, or at least any of the team, give the video a like. If you don't, let me know in the comments. Who would you play over which player and why? I'd be very intrigued to see some of the feedback. But yeah, that's all from me. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, like I said, leave a like if you agree with any of it. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Hands up for your colours.